Hi guys, welcome to the tutorial for the stippling that I've done for my Alaitoc craft. As you can see there's light and dark patches. These panels here are going to be blocked out in yellow, so that's why there's no stippling on them. Here's the other half of the links, which I'm doing at the moment. So that hasn't had any stippling, that's just had the base colour. Now the base colour is regal blue. That's just sprayed through the airbrush. There's a nice even coat. The darker stippling colour is Necronibus, and then the lighter stippling colour is Ultramarines blue. Okay, you also need for this flow improver, and this stops any paint build up, any ridges left behind through the stippling, because you're not actually brushing it on, you're sort of stabbing with the brush, so it helps the paint flow nice and smoothly. And this needs to be diluted, a 10:1 mixture. Now with purified water, because it's important to use purified water or bottled water because of the hardness. So if you live in a hard water area, you're going to get tide marks. So I use purified water just to be sure I don't get any tide marks. This is in a 10:1 mix. That's 10 parts water to 1 part flow improver. And also I used matte medium. This stops any irregularities in the sheen of the paint, although the model will be varnished eventually, but just so I can see what kind of finish is going to come. Okay, also we need now, GW do their own stippling brush. Now I've tried this brush and it doesn't seem to work for me. It's too stiff, too blunt. Can't get any detail with it. Now here I have 2 of the small dry brushes, and there's, if you notice the tips, one's got a pointed tip and one's got a flat tip. Now for this I'm using the pointed tip one because you get better control in where the paint wants, where you want to put the paint, and the sharp thinner areas of stippling. So I'm going to go with that one. Okay, and also need a bit of kitchen roll. Alright, so I started to mix some paint on a palette here, or old CD. So this is a Necronibus. Start with the dark colour first. Just a few drops of flow improver on there. Now the flow improver will instantly make the paint thin and flow flat. You won't get any ridges anymore. You need the paint reasonably thin. You just get to know eventually what it needs to be, because if it's too thin, the pigment won't come out on the model. And if it's too thick, again, you could possibly get ridges, raised areas. So it's just a case of knowing. And then I'll put a few drops of matte medium in here just to... Oh, that's quite a bit. So I've spread that a little bit into the paint there. Now that medium will appear to make the paint look lighter, but that's only because at the moment it's white, but as it dries with the paint it goes clear, so therefore the pigment, the colour strength of the paint is not affected. Okay, so just like when you're dry brushing, dab off a reasonable amount of paint and pick your area where you're going to go. So we'll start with this middle panel here. Now hold the brush pointing at the panel, not stroking it, and just start creating some shapes. Now you can use source material from White Dwarfs painting guides as it goes, but it's up to you really at the end of the day how you want your shapes to go. Now the big and the small shapes are important, so just dabbing the paint onto it, and as it dries you'll see how it goes. Now if you see any high areas of paint, just thin them out. You may need to go over it a couple of times But eventually you'll get what the effect you want. So just again stippling away with a dry brush. Like I said, the GW stipple brush is just a bit too harsh for this, but the dry brush is just stiff enough. So you don't want it all connecting up. No problem with putting a little bit here. Little tiny blotches, doesn't have to be all heavy. A little bit there. Okay guys, I finished off this side with the Necron Abyss off camera because it does take quite a while. A lot of patience needed. As you can see, if I bring the two halves close, there's just the black or the dark blue. It depends on your colour scheme at the moment. So the next step is to add the ultramarines blue. So again, we need obviously the paint, ultramarines blue, the flow improver of purified water, and matte medium from Vallejo. So we start. I've already shaken up the paint in case people were wondering. So ultramarine blue is quite thick. It could just be because this is an old paint pot, but the flow improver soon sorts that out. Okay, it's nice and thin again now. A couple of drops more. Again, you want the paint reasonably watery because you don't want any paintbrush marks. That's it. So just test it by dabbing it. Yep. Now a couple of drops. I'll drop like 2 of matte medium there, just to make sure the paint does not come out gloss in any places. Yep. Drop off flow improver and we'll be ready. That's it. Alright, now, okay, you don't need a lot of paint on the brush. It's enough to make the marks. Okay, so you want to kind of connect up the dark patches, but also you need to leave the blue colour behind. Now, ultramarine blue covers really well. The pigment in the paint is quite strong compared to regal blue, which is the base colour, and the Necron Abyss. So if I tried to go over this ultramarine blue with Necron Abyss, it would show through. I'd need several coats, which would be very time consuming. So if you make any mistakes with the Necron Abyss, don't worry, because you can easily correct them using the ultramarine blue here. Again, just dabbing or stippling, should we say, the paint on into the shapes. Again, just start off with reasonably small shapes, connect up the blue, start randomly, just let it build. Don't forget the little shapes and the big shapes, it's all random. Just bear in mind, because the paint's so watery, you're going to need to go over it a couple of times maybe, depending. So we got a little bit over here, so let's put some light blue in there. And like I said before, tiny little spots also unnecessary, just to, so it's not all block colours. As you can see, they're starting to come through, and compare it to the other side. And once the paint dries, I'm going to need to go over that again. And I'll finish this off camera and come back with the final result. Okay guys, I've finished the Ultramarines blue stippling now on this side of the hull. Here's the finished product. It takes a bit of time, like I said, in practice, but you just get used to it, get a feel for the shapes and how they should interact with each other. So the rest of the model is all done in this already, and it just clicks. Together like that. There's a stabilizing fin. Hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial on some tips on how to do stippling. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments box. I will reply to you, either by typing or do a short video reply. And thanks for watching.